Hey, welcome to the Inbound Marketing Team Weekly Recap and Demo Day. It is Thursday. Yeah, it's Thursday, February 18th of 2021. And we're going to get started with moments of insight. So this is something where we're sharing something we were surprised to learn this week that might benefit others. It could be about life, work, customers, product, leadership, coding, anything. And I think I am actually first up here. So I wrote this in the agenda. um, Last week I was just thinking or feeling, I think feeling is more accurate about like what handbook first really feels like for me. You know, as I've been joining and onboarding, and soon that will be less true, and I will just no longer be like fresh and new. But like as I was, you know, a month or two ago, I was like really excited about handbook first. It was like super engaging to me. I like to write, I like to read, and I spend a lot of time like in markdown files for documentation as it is. So I was like, cool, this is going to be a great way to work. And then I think I hit um, some road bumps as speed bumps as I like started to sift through all of the stuff. Like being handbook first means that like everything is there and curation is hard and navigation can be challenging by the nature of the volume. And so I was like, okay, like here are some harder parts about it. And I was like, I don't know what to do with this. And then last week I was finishing up, I was reading one of the book recommendations from the handbook, High Output Management, and they were talking about matrix organizations. And they like the book, which I know inspired a lot of the GitLab organizational philosophy, was like matrix organizations are good. And I was like, wait, hold up, GitLab said they weren't. Like, I wonder where this divergence came from. And then I was like, okay, cool. I'll just like Control F through the Markdown files and look for matrix organizations. And like I found it, and like I found not only the handbook entry, but I found a video recording. And this was something about handbook first that specifically I'd been struggling with about like all the video recordings. Like I don't learn super well by like watching a video. It's like not my first thing to do. And so I've been like, oh, there's all these videos that I feel like I'm never going to watch. But then I had a very specific application where I was like, I really do want to hear Sid talk about this because I know that it's like a divergence from what I would expect. And so I think just like the thing that I learned here very specifically was, I got this resolution on how handbook first plays out, and it's sure there's a flood of information, there's a lot of it, but it's like there when you need it. And it's very useful when you've got like a specific question in mind, right? Like I got this answer. I didn't have to stop anyone's day. I didn't have to like start a whole conversation in Slack. I certainly could have if I wanted to, but like there was a video of people talking about it, right? And so I like it was 15 minutes, answered my own question, learned some more stuff, and that's all. Also moments of insights. Learned a whole bunch about GitLab's approach to matrix organizations or avoiding them, and why. But yeah, this was just like really, it was very salient for me, getting a practical exercise and how this plays out. And I think it's really it hits home for me because of the technical documentation that I spend so much time in. Is like you wouldn't read technical documentation from cover to cover. I mean, you could, but like it's better if you've got a goal in mind, right? It's you get more out of it. So yeah, just learning and feeling that. So someone has a bullet point under me, brand gap, but I
Oh,
don't
that's
know
me.
who it is.
That's my. I forgot to put my initials, but hello. I have something to share about the brand gap. I have some slides there if you don't want to buy the book, but it's essentially like trying to figure out how to connect like business decision making to like design and strategy. It's really, really interesting, especially if you work either as a business person or as a creative. But like the big takeaway for me is what a brand is and trying to like define what that is. And it's like I like their classification of figuring out that it's a person's gut feeling about something. And it's like it makes the clear differentiation that a brand lives with the people's like in the customer's head more so than like what you say a brand is. Um, I find that very insightful. There's a lot of like little things that you can do to figure out what that is. But I just find that way of thinking about it very tangible. And I like that a lot. It also, I think, helps elevate creative thinkers to think more with a business mindset. And it helps kind of align those two things together. I recommend reading that book, reading the slides. I link them in our agenda. But yeah, that's it for me. Off to Danielle.
Javi. That looks like a great one. I want to read that. But remember, everyone, you can expense books as for work. So please do continue to learn. It's awesome. Great. I have the metrics section today. So it's the beginning of the quarter. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can just make sure we've all seen the same info. So first of all, I've linked to the parent epic. I'll make sure to link to this every week, but this is the parent epic we're using to organize all the marketing OKRs. And I want to shout out to Becky and Michael, who are both not on the call today for various reasons, but they worked really hard to help us get a good structure here that would work cross team. And I think we know we're still iterating on this, but one of the things we really wanted to do was move away from having key results and metrics kind of at the top level and instead having themes, because for other people and other teams, when they read this, it's a little hard to understand why we would care about inquiries or website traffic if you don't understand what our objectives are. So this is organized in a way that's meant to be more user-friendly across the company. And if you haven't read it, it did get reorganized right at the beginning of the quarter. Just take a moment to check this out. This will help you understand the context when you get requests from other team members. We've also done a little bit of a revamp for the metrics. So we have two key results. One is around inquiries and the other one is around traffic. So just as a refresher, inquiries are email addresses that are unique. They're different from MQLs because it is possible that an inquiry wouldn't qualify. Like, we use lead scoring here. And so it's possible that we wouldn't want to say that an inquiry is marketing qualified. And this team doesn't have quite as much control over that. So Demand Gen currently owns the qualification criteria, which is great. So far, we are just absolutely crushing it. Our goal for this month was 9,183 inbound inquiries. We're already at 7,399 with over a week left in the month. So we're on pace for 137% attainment, which rocks. Love to see that trend continue because the goals are going to go up. So we want to get that momentum. New trials. I'm going to break this out because this is a screenshot from a bigger dashboard and they're all linked here, but this is a company level visible metric now. So in addition to us caring about inquiries, the company wants to make sure we're healthy on trials. And anyone here who's been part of hunting down brokenness in trials knows that like when this breaks for a few days, everybody kind of freaks out. So we want to have a lot of attention on it. This links to a beautiful dashboard. I'm just going to take a moment to highlight it. Todd also highlighted this in his presentation just before. But if you hit the back button and you go to the dashboard this is coming from, this is quite a labor of love because every single one of these has to be charted and it has to be tested or against all our different data sources. But even more importantly, you can break this out by the part of the business. So each part of the business has its own metrics. So you could say, I want to understand just PubSec or any of these filters. I probably shouldn't spend a ton of time on this, but I could say I want to understand just growth in PubSec. And then I can see a completely new view. Anyone who's built these dashboards before knows this is just really challenging to get right. And also this gives all of you the ability to really deeply understand our business through metrics. So just want to make sure you know this is here and available to you. We are also on track. This little blue dot, it's a little hard to see here, but is the pace, the target to date. And we are just right there at that, which is awesome. And then down to web traffic, I've got two different screenshots for you. The first one is around overall website traffic. So our goal is still to increase overall traffic 20% year over year, not just inbound. And so if we look at overall, we are a little bit behind pace and this needs attention. Unfortunately, we don't have quite as much control over the non-inbound channels. So that's more of like a partnership with other teams and a conversation that we can have with Dunk and with Demand Gen. But I do want to point out that inbound traffic, we are very much on track at plus 19.4% year over year. And I think, we're matching and exceeding more months than we had in the past. The blue line is the current year and the orange line is the past year. So we'll see if that continues. I think the SEO changes that we've seen and the improvements there are hugely impactful. And that's probably the biggest driver. And lastly, I just want to highlight there is a beautiful blog metrics dashboard that Vicky and Rebecca and I think some others have been working on. And it has a very cool new metric available inside of it. So in addition to knowing top blog posts and overall blog performance, we can see the trial submissions that are associated to each one of these posts. So we can understand, which posts are actually driving inquiries and helping us understand, things we might want to double down on. So for example, it looks like this is a product announcement and generated a lot of trials. And so we might start thinking like, oh, each time we have a product announcement post, that's a juicy opportunity to help us hit our goal. So all of these are linked in the agenda doc, so you can check them out at any time. And going forward, I probably won't always be the one giving the metrics update, but those are the metrics that will update throughout the quarter. And with that, I will hand it over to Suri to lead show and tell.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to your favorite portion of this call, the show and tell section. Today, you will be hearing from Val first. Val, all you.
Hey, and I thought it was going to be all you, Suri. Wait a minute. So this is Suri and I have a little partnership going and wanted to let you all know to get ready for something fun that we really haven't done before in content marketing, which is we are doing 60-second videos that answer the burning questions of the day, like what is a DevOps platform? Because you all know that you stay up nights wondering to yourself, what the hell is it? So we have the fabulous Suri as our on-screen presence, and she is going to be answering questions like, what is SAST? What is DAST? What is GitOps? What is a DevOps platform? In these 60-second videos that we will be sharing on social. You'll find them on the topics pages. They just will be popping up everywhere. So this is kind of a Val Suri sort of off the books project, but Suri, we've come up with a great phrase. This is Bree's favorite thing, 60 seconds with Suri. So anyway, get excited because we're excited and can't wait to show you guys this. We just at this point are in the script writing phase. I think Suri linked the scripts there, so you can take a peek at our fabulousness, our screenwriting fabulousness, because you guys didn't know that we all have like a secret, other career where we're like famous and writing screens, like that kind of thing. So anyway, moving on, I'm done. I don't know who's next. Suri, back to you.
Thank you. So just really quickly, this is all Val's brainchild. So the idea of doing 60-second videos is all her. So thank you so much, Val, for having this new idea for the content team. Jess, please tell us about tree testing user research.
Yeah, let me just share my screen. So we're planning on doing some updates to the navigation design-wise, and I figured it'd be a good time to actually see if the information in our navigation makes sense to our customers the way that it's formatted right now. So I did something called tree testing, and this is it right here. Basically, they have a task. It's something really simple. So if you want to test drive the GitLab product before purchasing it, where would you find that? And they start the task, and they can kind of go through our navigation and kind of find it. And so this is what I linked into the doc. And this is the results of the first round of navigation testing. And basically, these are all the 12 questions we asked. You can see the red ones are ones that didn't go over very well. People weren't able to find those things. The ones with more green were easier to find. And so what we can do with that information, you can actually drop down and analyze them even more. So like this first one, people were really struggling to find GitLab professional services. And if you open this pie tree here, it'll show you something like this. So we can see, the happy path is this green path, but only one person got there. And people are really struggling to find that specific thing. And what you can do with that is you can say you can see where the first thing that clicked was. So there's ways to say okay, everyone seems to think this thing belongs in resources, but when they get there, it's not there. So maybe that's where we should move it. Or if it is in resources, they might click there, but they still can't find it, then maybe it's not worded correctly. Maybe we need to rethink about how it's worded. So I took all the analysis from the first round and developed another navigation just to test it out. Ran it last night. Some things went better, some things went worse. So we'll still have to kind of iterate on this. But just as an example, in the first round of testing, we asked people, if you're working from home, where would you find information on working from home? And we wanted them to find the all remote section. And a lot of people said, some people were able to find it, but a lot of people were like, I wish this was just said working from home or something similar to that. So in the second iteration, I called it working remotely, and it went from 40% findability to 90% findability. So just that small tweak was able to find a lot more information. Just check the chat real quick. Yeah. Anyway, so that's it for me, and I'll have more information as we go down the week and kind of get it all sorted out.
Thanks, Jess. That was so interesting. Tyler, let's look at your demo.
Cool. That was so cool. I'm going to take some of my time to say that is awesome. And I'm also going to show, so here's what I got. I've been working on this. So I am working on the blog template that we're putting together that Tina designed. And the big thing that I'm doing, the thing that I want to show is how I'm building this out. I'm going to do a high level overview, but I'm going to do a more detailed deep dive for developers to show like how I'm conceptualizing using slippers to build our design system in Storybook and like in an isolated space, and what the integration looks like. So what you can see here is the Figma file. Thank you for all of this excellent documentation. And in Figma, you can see there's these different pressure tests, different blocks, different viewport sizes and variations, right?
Tyler, are you supposed to be sharing your screen? I don't see
Am I
you.
not? Oh,
No, you're not. Okay.
thank you. Oh, it like, there it is. Okay. It like highlighted and then I like didn't confirm it. So here we are. I'm sharing the screen now. This is the Figma file. And as you can see, there's like a bunch of different variations, which are super useful, right? One of the challenges with building out these variations, especially if you're like building it into the live site, is that you have to contend with all the stuff going on in the live site. It takes a long time to live reload, and deployments can be a little bit, there's like other stuff going on, right? And like we really want to look at all this in isolation. So we can use Storybook, and we've previewed this before, but this is a branch I have with some additional stuff. So I'll zoom in on sort of the top part here, where you can see like these SVGs and the breadcrumbs and the header. And so as I've been working this, I said, okay, like let's split them out. Those are their own components. And so I have these, I called it decoration, right? And I can define different stories. So here's the default, here's background 2, background 3, breadcrumbs with different, this is for the pressure test 2. This would split into 2 rows on mobile, which we can play around with here, right? Which is pretty cool. And then, so all of this is like fully defined by us, and it gives us these, the nice thing is it spits out this HTML, which is portable. So what's going to end up happening is we can port this over into whatever templating makes sense to use on about.gitlab.com. Eventually, we'll be able to just directly integrate it. So all the work that happens here will also end up in the marketing site directly. For now, as an intermediary step, we get the components that we need in a way that is consumable by the marketing site in an easy way. It sort of forces us to think in like good software engineering practices. It forces us to isolate these things to make them do one specific thing. And I'll show you where it comes together. So we'll have these templates, and you can see I've got this decoration here. I've got the breadcrumbs, and then I've got sort of the start of the title block that you would see there. And then what you're looking at on the right side is just the code for this template. And you can kind of see what you see in this HTML matches a little bit here. These are the components. The nice thing is, so like this SVG is like a bunch of stuff in the markup, but it's a one-liner in the template. And so if I wanted to drop another decoration here, but I wanted to make it say like decoration number 3, it shows up right there. So we can do a lot of like playing around, a lot of demonstration. We get the ability to access these in controls as well, so you won't have to necessarily edit code. So designers, like what I'll end up being able to do is I can, come back to Tina and say, hey, let's compare these. We can like tweak the settings in the Storybook, and this is all live on the MR and the View app. And there's so much more. I am like the mayor of Stokes-Lahoma on this. It is so exciting to me. So I will stop and give back the time to the next folks, which is Tina.
Thanks, Tyler. I'm super excited to see this come to life. So I'm going to share my screen. Yes, I'm sharing my screen. So this is a new page design for a solutions landing page / template for continuous integration. You can take a look at the Figma file, which is linked. So you'll see a few new design components here, some improvements on our cards. And this page will be replacing this page. So a huge refresh in terms of design and in content. And speaking of content, I just wanted to give a shout out to Ash. She did a lot of the content work on this, the structure, the wireframes, and shout out to Brand also for giving us all these assets to work with, because it really helps put the page together. I'm going to stop my share. That was it. I'm leading shoutouts. There's no one after me. No. So on to shoutouts. So this is an opportunity to express gratitude within our team and across the company to people who were highlights of your week. Who's first? Tyler.
Hello. So my shout outs go to both Brandon and Becky. Brandon specifically put together some really great sprint boards, Kanban boards for digital experience team, which is making it so much easier to use issues and use boards and dog food the product like we ought to be doing. And I've already learned so much more about the product, and it's been great. I've also I'm no longer using my other task management software. I'm basically ready to go all in on GitLab for my day-to-day task management stuff with this. So thank you, Brandon, for doing that work. And extra thank you to Becky for all of the education on how to get that together. Really, really appreciate it. I dropped a link to the process video that made a lot of things click for me. And that just yeah, awesome, transformative. Up next is Danielle.
Awesome. Yeah, I just want to shout out to the two folks who aren't here because they're being awesome as CEO Shadows. Lauren and Shane, you are doing a great job. We see all of your work in the CEO and CEO Shadow Slack rooms. We miss you and you represent us so well. Next up is Javi.
Just want to quickly shout out Tyler. I link a lot of things in Slack, a lot of content. He actually goes out and does the things that I talk about. That I'm too early in my career to actually implement all the things all the way. So it's awesome to have someone to talk through those things, which has been very, very rewarding for me, and I think rewarding for the whole team in general. So we're happy to have you.
All right, well, that takes us to the end of the agenda. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your week, and we'll see you all next week. Bye.